Welcome to episode 1 of Ask Reddit. As asked by Reddit user Zyfix76, we find out. Teachers, what is your greatest, I hope that kid doesn't tell their parents, moment. Created by Raunchy Reddits. I was handing out books, hardcover copies of To Kill a Mockingbird, and was handing them out in a rather lackadaisical manner. Basically, I was throwing them, gently, onto students' desks, as I was young, exuberant and foolish. My aim has forever been rather poor and unfortunately on this occasion proved to be once again. One book collided with a girl's face, corner of the book in the eye, quite hard, quite fast. She yelped, understandably startled. My heart sank and I apologized profusely to her for my silliness. She seemed fine and said she was okay, but I have never had such a nerve-wracking day and evening as that, expecting a stern email or, worse, phone call from the head teacher to chat about the day's events. Happily nothing happened and I don't think the student ever mentioned it again, but I still feel bad. One of my third-grade girls was having a rough time, said she didn't have anyone to play with, etc. I asked who she wanted to play with, she said, other female student. I replied very empathetically, oh, I understand, I love other female student too. She stares me straight in the eyes and says, oh, so you're gay? I froze, totally thrown off, and told her that wasn't an appropriate thing to say. Still very calmly, she replied, well, I think being gay is appropriate, so then I had to backtrack and say no, it is, just not in that context, a teacher with a student. She then asked me what was wrong with that. So I gave up and told her to find someone to play with and avoided her the rest of the day. I dropped a casual F-bomb by pure accident in my final placement. The grade 8 was talking about their previous student teacher and how they were embarrassingly bad and why the students really didn't respect student teacher, but was basically telling me I was the best one they'd had that year. I got caught up in the conversation and said something along the lines of, now I get why you guys really don't pay much attention when asked to do work, you've had so many problems with F-ing bad teachers, I understand why you guys are so fed up. According to my mentor teacher, their previous student teacher didn't make it through the 30 days. TBH though, where those students lived, they've seen more crap in their 14 years than I've seen in my 30-some odd. I hope each and every one of them found a passion and ran with it, they should all be in uni, college by now age-wise. Was playing a video for the class on YouTube. I pulled it up and then got distracted by the conversation. I didn't notice that for several minutes some very inappropriate video suggestions were off to the side. Not related to my own past videos or anything before someone asks. They were tangentially related to the topic of the video edit. It was internet safety, about not using the internet for bad things. So all the suggestions were basically about how to do all the bad things. Probably the time I started crying, just tears, in front of 4 third graders as a student teacher because I dropped my lunch, a Tupperware of curry and rice, and it exploded on the floor the moment I stepped out of the staff room. It was that time of the month. It was really embarrassing. I am an American teaching in Scotland. I once told a group of S1's 7th graders to stop spasming out, being spastic, as they were quite unsettled after a PE lesson, a bit hyper. One kind pupil said, Mr. Yochek at 87, I don't think you can say that. I then asked my colleagues in the staff room about it, and that didn't go so well. I didn't realize that in the UK that phrase is reserved for people with disabilities such as cerebral palsy who were having an episode, extremely rude. As a teacher, I've never wanted to crawl up into a hole as much as I did then, except for when I tripped up on a desk in front of a class and tore my ACL teaching stateside. Not a teacher, but junior year of high school I was in pre-AP Algebra 2 and failing pretty bad. My permanent sub called me to his desk, our actual teacher left 3/4 through the year due to pregnancy, and asked how I was going to pick my grade up. I told him that there was no way I could pick it up, there really wasn't, and that I was perfectly okay with receiving the credits I needed during summer school. He just stares at me for a good minute before saying, I can't believe you're really okay with that? I replied yes, and then he pulls out this wild card, you seem so resigned to your fate, I can't believe it, you're like a Jew in Nazi Germany on your way to the showers. And I crap you not, the classroom went dead frickin' silent and I just seated my ass back to my desk waiting for the bell to ring. He pulled me aside after class to clarify that he was, in fact, joking and that I shouldn't take his joke comparison to heart. Definitely an oh crap moment for him lol. I taught classes only for a short time. It was a tough area and I was not much older than the 15 to 16-year-old boys. Some of them misbehaved in ways which I was not prepared for. I asked some of the older teachers to sit in during their lessons and I was shocked but then got used to it, at the language they used to control the boys. So once during one of my lessons, a boy said something that was really bad. NSFW stuff and more. So I decided to show him that I could use that language too. I ended up not just swearing but blaspheming. He shut up. I was not a teacher but an after-school counselor. I was not prepared mentally to look after 25 first graders by myself. I was told when I was hired I would have a partner. They lied. During snack time some of the kids had crowded around another kid who was showing them something in his hand. It was an earring. A big old diamond men's earring. I told the kid to hand it over. He threw a fit and was like, no, I promise I won't show it again. He shoves it into his jeans and that's the end of it, for a little while. I'm the idiot for taking a 6-year-old at his word. Half an hour later he comes up to me and tells me he swallowed it. He swallowed it. So I start yelling at him for swallowing it because I'm panicking and then he starts to panic saying it's stuck in his throat, so I panic more and call the nurse. The nurse takes a look at him and says, he's fine. Later when the father comes to pick him up I explain, very shakily, that the kid swallowed his earring. He nods and walks off. Turns out he can't speak a lick of English. The kid survived because he was in school the next day and every day after. Suffice to say I quit that job. I am clearly unfit to look after small lives for any significant amount of time.